there, fellow travelers. Mark here with Walter's World, and today we're in Mystic, Connecticut, in a beautiful place here in the U.S. And today what we have for you are the don'ts of visiting the U.S. because anywhere you go in the world, there's things you should do, but there's also things you shouldn't do. And this video is going to just cover the U.S. in general, okay? And our first don't for when you visit the U.S. is don't touch the Americans. Look, Americans really like their personal space. It's like they have a bubble around them, and if you get too close to them, they feel very, 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 very uncomfortable, okay? So
I get uncomfortable if someone gets too
with
close.
anyone, though.
Maybe some countries it's a bit more like acceptable. It's culture, isn't it? Some places are fine with
I know,
things.
I wouldn't like anyone touching me.
Or getting too close.
Yeah.
It's awkward. It feels weird. It's like, why are you this close kind of thing.
make sure you give them a little distance when you are there, you know, because I know when I go to Italy and Spain and stuff, be like, Mark, how's it going? All this stuff. And my American friends sometimes go, wow, they're really, really affectionate. Like, that's just how it is. Here, space is key. The second don't I have for you is don't count on public transportation. Look, when we were in China and we were in throughout Europe and South America, we took buses and trains and planes and all kinds of stuff to get all over the place because public transport is really developed. Here in the U.S., you cannot count on public transport to get you a lot of places. Yes, in big cities like New York and Chicago and stuff like that, you can get around with public transport and it'll take you where you want to go. But a lot of towns, small towns especially, in middle-sized cities, the public transportation networks are not very good. And at night, sometimes it's not very safe. So that is kind of a frustrating thing. So yes, you're going to probably have to rent a car when you come here, okay? So just have a heads up for that. And that
was my question. What do we do when we visit the States? If they don't recommend public transport, what's the way of going? It looks like we might have to rent a car. I think that's the best way.
I think we should rent a Mustang.
What do you guys think? What car should we rent? A Mustang? A muscle car?
A Shelby GT500.
Oh, you know your cars. I know. Well, I know what Mustang.
I know that from. I think it was Fast and Furious.
Is it? Yeah. Okay. We'll look into that.
And that kind of leads into the next don't I have for you is don't underestimate the size of the U.S. The United States, it's, you know, continental U.S. is like continental Europe. It's huge. I mean, would you think of driving from, I'm going to do, go from Lisbon to Paris and then go up to Tallinn and then head down to Sofia? No, you're like, that is insanely far. It's the same thing when you come to the U.S. I meet a lot of travelers that are like, I'm going to fly into New York, grab a car, drive down to Miami to see Miami Beach, and then head over to L.A. I'm like,
you can't do that.
You got 2 weeks? You're going to spend the entire time in cars. The distances here are insane. So what I recommend is picking a region. So, we're going to stay here in New England and see New England.
Boston.
Or we're going to go in the southeast, go to Atlanta and Savannah and Charleston, things like that, or visit the West Coast. You do that to get a better idea of the culture there and things like that, but also it's just the logistics things because it's so far between the places. And to go along with that, for Americans, a 3 to 4 hour drive, that's a day trip. Like my parents live 3 hours away. I will literally get up, go drive, have lunch with my mom, and then drive back home.
See, this is the difference of the UK and the US. We spoke about this in our previous video. Like, he said he will drive 3 hours, go have lunch with his mum, and drive 3 hours back. That's normal in the US. A lot of you guys will comment in, like, you drive 2 hours each way to go to work. It's normal. With us, 1 hour driving on the motorway is far.
For us,
me and my mum and her mum live like about an hour distance from where we live currently. And we do that once every month or something because that's a big trip for us. Like it's a distance. So you guys doing that on a daily, as much as I love driving, damn, like you guys are serious about it.
Just for lunch, 6 hours in the car. No big deal. It's about 7 hours when we start to think, that kind of is a long drive. And we drive the entire way through. Okay, this isn't like, I must stop every 2 hours and have a 15-minute break. Oh, no. No. We drive all the way through, okay? Now, my next don't for you when you come here is don't think that the sticker price is the end price. Look, in the U.S., we have sales tax. I know other countries, they have VAT, value-added taxes. They're already put into the price of products. So when you see, it's $1 or €1, I only pay €1. In the U.S., it is not like that. We have sales tax, so a certain percentage is added onto that product. And the thing is, I cannot tell you what the sales tax will be where you're going to travel because it's different everywhere. Cities, states, counties, different products have different sales taxes, and some products don't have sales taxes. Some cities don't have sales taxes. Some have 10% sales tax. it can be different anywhere you go. So if you're going to go get your dollar menu item at a McDonald's or a Culver's or a wherever, it's not going to be $1. Where I live, there's 2 cities right by where I live. One, it's going to be $1.08. The other one, it's going to be $1.09. So be ready for that. And it's not just the sales tax. Also, there could be the tipping on top. And that leads us into the 5th don't. And that
Sales tax, that's interesting. I thought, you see what you pay, like in the UK, you pay it and the VAT is included within the price. You don't need to worry about our shit. And especially with tourists like us, when we go visit, if we go to different states, we're going to have to do our research on like what laws and what actually has sales tax and how much it is. It's quite confusing. So I think that's going to confuse us, but hopefully, with the internet, we could find that. And tipping, I'm guessing he's going into that. That's a big thing in America. In the UK, we barely tip. Like tipping is not really a thing. Like you do it, but no one expects it. In the US, people get really upset if you don't tip them. It's very normal to tip. Like you look bad for not tipping. Like,
I mean, I have my opinion on tipping.
yeah, but in America, regardless of your opinion, you need to tip. That's how America is. Like,
I mean,
they look
you're still getting paid to do your job.
Listen, that's the UK. That's the UK's mindset to tipping. US, I know, is very different. You guys are probably gonna give a backlash for that, but that's how it is.
That is, don't forget to tip. Look, in the US, you tip 15 to 20% at a sit-down restaurant, okay? Now, McDonald's, stuff like that, no, you don't tip at a fast food place, but if it's a sit-down restaurant where they bring you your food and stuff like that, you will tip them 15 to 20%. If you are in a group of 6 people or more, sometimes they automatically put the gratuity on there, which sometimes can be 18% or something like that. Look, when you come to the US, there's a reason why the food is like so affordable. You're like, wow, it's cheap to go out and eat in the US. It's because there's kind of this understanding that the service fees and paying for the workers and the waitresses and stuff like that, that goes on to you, the person eating there, with the tips. So the food and stuff can be cheaper when you go out to eat. And I know
that's a good point. So the food's a lot cheaper because the pay that they pay their staff is a lot lower, but then they think because tipping is so normal, people get the money off tips. So although you're saving a lot of money on restaurant food, you need to bear in mind that I need to tip it because that's where I'm saving my money, because the staff ain't being paid well, not like the UK, because they rely on tips. It's just a different culture. It's a different mindset. It works differently.
Wow.
Yeah, it's very different.
I know a lot of people say, I don't believe in tipping and this tipping isn't the right thing. They should pay their people more. Well, if you want to pay more for your food, they can do that.
Bring it on.
But they don't. Okay, so tipping is something we do here in the U.S. So do tip that 15 to 20%. Oh, also, if you're at a bar and you're buying drinks, you're going to want to tip a couple dollars here and there. Otherwise, the bartender might not be too quick to come back and get you your next drink. So following off of those tips, what you need to realize is our next don't be freaked out by the over-the-top service and free stuff you sometimes get in the U.S.
Refillables.
Look, because
drinks.
of tipping and commissions and stuff like that, yes, there is a lot of over-the-top service here. But the thing is, in the U.S., the people actually are pretty nice and they want to help people. And sometimes for some travelers, if they come from countries where people don't get a lot of service sometimes, it can be a bit much, so don't freak out about it. Also with that is don't be freaked out with some of the free stuff you get when you go to restaurants. Look, if you go to a restaurant and they bring you bread and water or chips and salsa and all those really good things, that's included in your meal. Okay, so if you're going to be buying something, they're going to give you some free stuff. It might be some bread, it might be a salad, it might be a water, it might be something like that. So don't be like shocked when like, wait, I didn't order this bread, I didn't order this salad. Oh no, that comes with your meal, okay? Now the thing is though, you can't just go in and get chips and salsa and walk out, all right? You actually have to order some food when you go there. Now my next don't...
I quite like that because if that's how they're doing the service and they're proper about service, I wouldn't feel as bad on the tip. Here, they don't give a fuck about you. You pay for what you get and you kind of leave. Don't get me wrong, some places are more service-based than others, but I feel like if what you're saying, they're giving you lots of free shit and stuff, I wouldn't feel like, I'll be more mentally willing to tip, even with my British mindset, where we don't tip.
But I feel like it depends on where you go in the UK. If you also go to a high quality restaurant, you will receive that service.
True, that's true.
And, they still give you very good customer service
and
as
they
well.
don't expect tips either.
I mean, they do put it in the receipt, but you've got the option to opt out of the tip.
Yeah, okay, that's a good point.
Yeah.
I get it, yeah.
For you is don't smoke cigarettes in the U.S. If you're smoking cigarettes in the U.S., people will look at you like you're trying to kill their baby. Cigarettes is like totally verboten. Like people really frown upon it, which is funny because when they talk about marijuana and stuff like that, people don't seem to care as much. But cigarettes, oh, you're trying to kill my baby with that cigarette 2 blocks away. So if you do smoke, make sure you try to find a place where you can smoke, because a lot of restaurants, or pretty much all restaurants, hotels, stuff like that, have smoke-free. It's smoke-free. So you got to go like 15 to 20 feet away from doing things. So that can be something. So
I like that. That's good.
Outside my favorite liquor store to give you the next don't. And that is, don't try to buy alcohol unless you're 21, or cigarettes unless you're 18 or over in the US. They will not sell them to you. And the thing is, don't forget your ID, because if you look like you're 40 or under, they may ask you for that. And don't get mad at them, because if they don't ask, they could get in trouble and get fined. So don't be surprised, because we've had friends that have come here, try to buy alcohol, and they're like, sorry, you don't look old enough. Oh, I don't have my ID. Too bad. And the thing is, it's not just the person buying. They might ask anybody with you, so make sure everybody has their ID if they want to buy liquor, or they want to buy alcohol, or if they want to buy cigarettes. So just...
I like that the drink age is 21. I think that's quite sensible. They might need to bring that to the UK.
I think it's 18 in the UK, isn't it?
18 in the UK.
Just FYI on that one. Oh, that's also another don't I have for you is, don't bother with a metric system when you come here. We don't use we don't use meters, we don't use kilometers, we don't use liters. It is inches, feet, miles, gallons, pounds, things like that. And I'll put a conversion chart here to show you. But honestly, you may say, hey, how far is it to this next town? And they'll tell you, oh, it's like 60 miles. You're like, what's that? Just know 60 miles, it's about 100 kilometers, okay?
We use miles.
Just do that, because the people here won't get it. I mean, I have people, when I'll tell them, oh, it's 100 meters away, they're like, 100 meters? It's like 100 yards. Oh, okay. So make sure you do know your imperial system, okay? Because metric, we don't do that so much here. So our next don't is, when you do come to the U.S., there's a couple things you don't talk about, okay? One is gun control, and two is politics, because no matter where you are, you will get people on either side of the spectrum, and they will have an argument with you. So it's best just to lay off those topics, talk about the weather. Oh, wouldn't it be nicer if it was sunny today and we could go sailing? Yes, that would be much better than discussing gun control or politics. Just put that one out there for you right now. Now, my next don't for you is, don't assume that all the U.S. and all the Americans are the same. Because I know a lot of people say, oh, you're a typical American. Well, it's like saying you're a typical European. Look, the U.S. has all kinds of different cultures, all kinds of different people, all kinds of different topography and scenery and stuff like that. And when you come here, don't assume it's all the same. You will see regional differences in cuisines and how people treat each other, and how everything looks, all kinds of stuff. So don't just think there's just one kind of American. They're all fat, slobby guys with ponytails. No, there's actually a lot of skinny people in America too, not just fat guys like me and my buddy Jeff.
Poor Jeff got dragged into it.
So don't assume it's all the same, all right? So do go out and explore. And that's why I always say is, if you're going to come to the U.S., go and explore different regions, because you'll get a really different feel. Because going to the southeast and seeing the plantation homes and going to see the southern towns down there versus going to the northwest and Seattle and Portland, or going to San Francisco, or going to the Midwest with Chicago and Milwaukee, you're going to have a very different feel, which is really a cool thing to do. And you start to understand is, wow, the U.S. does have a lot of different cultures within it, a lot of different feelings when you go around here. And following on with that, I guess I would say another don't is, don't assume there's no culture in the U.S., because there are a lot of cultural centers out there. If you go down to New Orleans, you see a very rich culture there. You go to New York or Boston, here in New England, you have a very distinct culture. In the Midwest with Chicago, Milwaukee, you go to the West Coast. I mean, there's a lot of different culture here. Historic culture with the Native Americans, or more recent culture here. I mean, you have all that here you can really take in. And saying there's no culture in the U.S., it's not really true, because there are all these different cultural centers with great museums, like the Art Institute of Chicago, or the Met in New York, the Getty in LA. There's all kinds of stuff you can see and do when you are here. For a cultural trip, it's not just seeing beautiful landscapes and seascapes like we are here in Connecticut. There's a lot more to it than that.
Yeah, I think that's quite offensive to go to another country and be like, oh, there's no culture here. Like, imagine Americans love their country. So I think saying that is quite disrespectful, especially with...
But I feel like every country has its own culture.
Yeah, I feel that way as well.
It's like saying the UK is one culture.
Which is impossible.
Yeah, London is very different to a city up north.
Yeah.
Very different.
Yeah, completely different. And look how big the US is. It's like 50 countries. It's impossible for the whole of the US to have one culture.
Oh yeah,
Like
100%.
it's too big. Like it's got to be different stuff happening.
Now, my next don't for you is one that I kind of get a lot of questions about. We actually have a video on this, and then that is, don't think that how are you or how's it going is actually a question. Look, when we say how's it going, how are you, these kind of things in the US, it's not a question, it's a statement. It's like saying hi. Okay, just take it as a hi. Because a lot of people say this, everyone asks me how I'm doing.
That's
When I
interesting.
try to tell them how I'm feeling, they're like, well, I was just saying, how are you? Here, how are you is just hi. Think of it that way. It's like in France, ça va, ça va. How's it going? How's it going? We're good to go. In Portuguese, tudo bem, everything good. You answer back, tudo bem, everything good. It's just, how are you? How are you? You move on, okay? So
That one's very different because when I say how are you, I
It's a question.
Yeah, I expect a bit of a response. Say, yeah, I'm good. Like things are good. Otherwise, I'd be like, oh, this person's a bit odd.
Yeah.
So that's quite different in the UK. I'll say that.
don't think it's an actual question, all right? Now, another don't I have for you is don't expect a lot at the fancy hotels. You know, you're thinking, oh, I'm going to pay more money for this hotel. I'm probably going to get nicer stuff, like a nicer breakfast, better Wi-Fi. Oh, no, 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 no. For some reason in the US, it seems like the nicer the hotel, the more you have to pay for the things you think would be free, like Wi-Fi and breakfast. So don't feel like you have to stay at the fancy hotels, because honestly, if you're going to be going out and exploring, you just need a couple beds, right? So stay at the hotels in the US, and the cheaper ones will give you free Wi-Fi, free breakfast, all these kind of things, which is really nice, so don't expect that from the fancy hotels.
It's probably because the less fancy ones, they kind of want to prove themselves to be a good hotel, so they offer extra. But the nice ones are like, yeah, we're nice, we could charge for everything because we're just the top. So I think it's there. The lower hotels are like, yeah, let's give free Wi-Fi so we get like that extra positive feedback, you know.
But then, because obviously I'm in holiday fever,
She is.
I'm looking at, like, for example, 5-star hotels, 3-star hotels, 4-star hotels. And for example, Wi-Fi is free in the 5-star and the 3-star hotel.
That's not in America, though, is
I think it depends. No, I haven't looked at America. I think it depends on the country.
Yeah, no, that's what he's saying. He's talking about America. He's not saying anywhere else.
Yeah.
I'm talking about America. This video's on America. So the don'ts of the America, you're saying don't book an expensive hotel because you'll end up paying for more shit that should be free. That's the point he's making. You've not looked at America, obviously. Well, where we visited
But does that
Turkey.
apply to every single state within America?
Probably. He's making it sound like it is.
Oh.
So
But I like fancy hotels.
I know you do, but it just means we'd have to pay for everything. So you could pay for that. Put it on your credit
Put on
card.
the YouTube credit card.
Another don't I have for you is don't skip out on the local food. Look, we're here in New England. We're here in Connecticut. We've been having lobster and clams. And, oh my God, the New England clam chowder. Oh,
That
my
is good.
tummy is just like, more. It's fantastic. When I'm in the South, man, Southern fried chicken, mac and cheese.
that's my style.
barbecue. Oh my God. The food in the
Barbecue.
different regions in the U.S. are great. So don't just go to chain restaurants. When you go to your hotel, ask them, hey, what's some local restaurants around here? What's some locally owned and operated restaurants? So you can go there and check out those places because they really give you a great experience. And I find a lot of times those ones actually have better service than the chain restaurants because it's a mom and pop place where the owner is the ones helping you out. And that is really kind of a cool thing. Now, my next don't for you is don't get sick. Look, healthcare in the U.S. is insanely expensive.
Yeah.
And just because you come from another country doesn't mean they're not going to find you for the bill. All right. So if you're going to be coming here, make sure you get travel insurance or
Yeah.
trip insurance. So in case you do get sick or you do break an ankle or you do break an arm or something happens to you, your insurance will cover it. Now, you might have to pay it first and your insurance pays you back, but at least you'll get something back because healthcare here in the U.S. is insanely expensive, okay? So make sure you're prepared for that. And I guess my last don't I'm going to have for you is one that people actually got mad at me for when I lived in other countries when I told them the U.S. has 50 states. And they said, no, the U.S. has 52 states. Look, don't think the U.S. has 52 states. The U.S. has 50 states, okay? Just a heads up on that one. I'm sure that people are going to be commenting down below that when I was in school, they told me 52.
Why did they think 52 though? I wonder if you'll tell us. I always thought it was 50, but
But you know the stars in the flag, doesn't that represent how many states there are?
well, do you want to count them? I don't think that represents how many states are. That does not look like 50. 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2. It could be, you know. All right, we'll come back to that. Guys, comment below if that's what that represents.
No, but I think it
because
does
that's 5 and
represent the
then
States.
across is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Nah, I don't know. It could be around, yeah, it might be. It's looking like the mass might be close. So comment below, guys.
No, there's 48 on the mainland, and then Alaska and Hawaii are 49 and 50, all right? So those are our don'ts for visiting the U.S. What are some of the don'ts you have for the U.S.? Because I know there's more out there. I just want to get some of these out there to help out travelers heading to the U.S., just so we can get things going.
Don'ts of London. Don't smile at someone and say hello, otherwise they'll pull a knife out of you thinking you're trying to rob them. Fuck it out, what a joke. What's your thoughts of don'ts of the US? Did you learn anything?
Well, I'm not going to look at the 5-star hotels.
Yeah, please don't.
When we go to
Please don't.
Because we want that Wi-Fi.
And we need the Wi-Fi, especially the YouTube channel going.
Yeah.
I learned a lot there. Like obviously I knew about the tipping thing, but the what was it? The travel, the trains. I didn't know public transport was that bad in the US.
I didn't expect that. Why?
I think they
Is
probably
it
just
because
haven't.
the country's so big?
Country's probably so big, and they probably just haven't thought to develop it because they're obviously focused on things like the military and other sectors where they just thought
Maybe, yeah.
people like to drive. I think they got a lot of motorways, so people got cars, and it's just like normal. Yeah, there was quite a few things there. And what was the one? That's not a question. How are you? It's more like a statement.
How are you?
It's a statement. But yeah, guys, thank you for recommending that video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Keep sending us videos in the comment sections, and we will be back soon. Peace out.
Bye.